played football for over 11 years. It's my favorite sport and one thing I couldn't imagine growing up without. It's not the actual game itself I couldn't imagine growing up without. In fact, it's the life lessons that it taught me. And tangibles that it instilled in me, like working hard, working with others, and putting others before myself. It's so simple yet taken for qualities that are lacking in our society today. The things I fear would be lacking if I didn't play football. I fear I wouldn't be a productive member of society, a good son, a good brother, or a good friend. Nowadays, people say you shouldn't play football because of the risk of concussions. But I fear if I didn't play football, because of the risk of concussions, I would have fell into the dogma of society that we're seeing today. Therefore, I would have gained the valuable life lessons I believe I need. I've been diagnosed with one concussion in my 11 years of playing football, and nowadays, former NFL players are now dying because of these concussions. And they're taking the blame for that, and maybe rightfully so. And I was aware of what these consequences were when I played the game, and I'd go back and do it all over again, even though knowing today what the consequences were, because I believe the positive benefits outweigh the negative side effects of playing football. And people say that the NFL is not doing everything they can to help limit these number of concussions, but I say the NFL is doing everything in its power to limit the number of concussions we are seeing. Yet people still believe the negative side effects outweigh the positives. And the players who have died from the concussions were players that played over 15 years ago, sometimes even over 30 years ago. And there are many big reasons why people believe concussions are a bigger problem than they are today with the way the media presents it. And the effects of football are so evident today with a high number of former players shown to have died from side effects. And people say these players had these problems back then, and what's going to change today to have these players not get these concussions. And people say the players are making millions of dollars, so why shouldn't they play the game with these risks? And the NFL is promoting the brand of football more than ever today, and why shouldn't the players partake in that? And they're obligated to play. Or people will say the NFL is not protecting its players enough, so that's why these players are getting these concussions. But I say these players knew what they were getting themselves into when they signed that contract and stepped onto the field, and nobody was making them play football. That they wanted to play that to make millions of dollars for themselves. They were all willing participants. And if they knew about the side effects of concussions, why are they complaining about what they did to them? I mean, the NFL didn't do it to them, they did it to themselves. And the protocol and equipment the NFL is going to prove today is better than ever has been. List of procedures for preventing concussions for once you have one is enormous. And the NFL doesn't rush you back, and if you were to rush back, there would be heavy fines for yourself or even your team. But you just don't see players rush back to the game of the day. Once you have a concussion, those players out sometimes 2 weeks, or sometimes even 3. They have to go through a series of protocols, and it's just, you just don't hear about a player getting past those protocols. And the equipment you see these players have on Sundays is state of the art. The equipment has been tested over and over and over again to ensure these players' safety. And compared the equipment to now, back then it's just silly. It's like comparing Tom Brady to Peyton Manning. Brady's a laughingstock compared to Peyton. While concussions in football grab the headline, a jarring fall or hit to the head can occur more often than you think. Even if you don't play a sport, concussions can occur at life at any age with varying levels of severity. Just because you didn't play football like I did doesn't mean you don't have a risk of getting a concussion. Whether you hit your head getting out of the car, slip in the shower, or on the ground, I mean, concussions are all around. Just because you didn't play football, there's always a potential risk in your life of getting a concussion, just like there's always a potential risk of getting a concussion while you're playing football. So that's why the NFL is trying to do everything it can to limit the number of concussions the players are getting today. Thank you.
Did you see any statistics on how many players of football get concussions?
Well, it just really depends, because some concussions don't get diagnosed, and those players won't come up and admit it sometimes, so it just really depends. There's no really exact statistic, I guess you can say, because not all of them get reported, so it just really depends. But there's usually at least one concussion every NFL game, and even a high school game. It just depends if it gets reported or not.
Did you find any other major negative effects besides that?
Of there's always negative effects. I mean, I already have bad knees right now, so I probably have the knees of like a 30-year-old man, so it's probably, I mean, there's always those side effects, so, yeah. Audrey, I mean, Hannah. So,
You said a lot of people have died from concussions.
yeah, well, so,
Like,
much
how
time.
many people, like, how have you died
Well,
from a concussion? Is that?
It's
that
just like the
serious?
side effects of it. There's been 76 out of 79 recent players like studied in the past 10 years that have died from concussion-related injuries. It's just like the repeated head trauma of like banging your head against another person over and over again, and those just really add up. And once you hit like a certain point, there's it's called CTE, and once you hit that, it's brain disease, and it just sort of takes over.
Is there any negative side effects of your concussion that you had, and like
Well,
you can tell
I've
now that you definitely had one?
Yeah, I can see the side effects, but when I had mine, I was probably 11, 12 years old, but I can definitely see the side effects of playing football. Like sometimes, like I want to do something, like 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, what was I gonna do, or something like that sometimes. But I can definitely see the side effects. But I mean, it's just the price you play the game, I guess. So.
All right, thank you.